tonight. The province has implemented a new act to streamline work opportunities for international workers. Plus, council is moving forward with plans to update parking around the hospital and the downtown area. And it's shaping up to be the lightest tourism season in Prince George since COVID, according to some. Good evening, folks. I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. Our top story tonight, the provincial government recently removed barriers for international workers to work and live in BC, with the hopes of addressing staff shortages across 29 different professions. Tommy Osborne has more on what the action the government took and what this means for Prince George and Northern BC.
The provincial government's International Credentials Recognition Act came into effect earlier this month, and it hopes to address a long-standing issue BC faces, attracting and allowing international workers to work in their fields.
I've come across stories of, for example, in Surrey a few weeks ago, a pediatric dental surgeon who is working at Wendy's, and a number of other situations where people have come here and faced nothing but barriers, obstacles, and challenges to get their credentials recognized.
Many barriers have been removed, with the big three being removing redundant and unnecessary English language testing, creating a superintendent responsible for international credential recognition, and eliminating Canadian work experience.
The stories we hear of the catch-22 of coming to Canada in order to get your credential recognized, you need Canadian work experience, but in order to have Canadian work experience, you need your credential recognized, just put up a real barrier for people. It was unacceptable.
29 professions will see several large barriers removed, including engineers, social workers, teachers, and more. SD 57 is looking forward to seeing how this act impacts schools, as it hopes it will help fill some gaps.
There definitely is a staffing shortage. We have a lot of folks here who are working without teaching certification, and we're very fortunate actually to have those folks stepping forward in order to provide instruction to our students.
Education can be a harder field to directly translate skills into, as Aziz explains. The BC curriculum focuses on things like Indigenous ways of learning and truth and reconciliation that other countries may not know about. Despite these challenges, Aziz is optimistic on the possibility of both further diversifying our schools while also addressing staff shortages.
I think there would be some adjustment, but hopefully that foundation of credentials would allow for them to maybe come and do a student teaching kind of experience and really understand what Canadian schools look like and be able to assimilate into our system quicker, because we certainly need people to come forward.
Parmar says over the next 10 years, there will be an additional 1 million job openings. So the hope is the International Credentials Recognition Act could play a big role towards addressing those staff shortages. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
Prince George has had several record-breaking temperatures of late, and more are potentially on the way. Yesterday's 32.2-degree day was the highest we've seen since 2015. This heat has been caused by an even more intense weather pattern in California, and wind currents are causing Prince George and the area to get what Environment Canada calls glancing blows of the extremes. This heat wave is expected to last at least 10 more days, and while temps will slightly cool off, Environment Canada warns that the intense heat could increase the risk of wildfires.
There's quite a bit of concern around the potential for dry lightning and the fact that now all of the rains that we did see in late May and in June, which was wonderful, and really put a damper on all those holdover fires from last year, we're really now getting into the crux of the wildfire season. We are anticipating a fairly strong thunderstorm activity, particularly over the north along the Yukon border, but even edging further south as well. And those will be, possibly problematic.
The city has responded to the week's heat warnings by activating 3 cooling centers. Today and tomorrow, cooling centers downtown will be located at Pounds from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., the BC Schizophrenia Society from 9 till 4, and the Fire Pit from 10 a.m. until 4:30. Temperatures will begin to moderate by Thursday, when a high of 24 is expected. And the BC Wildfire Service has implemented a Category 1 campfire prohibition across the Prince George Fire Centre, effective at noon on Friday. This prohibition covers all of the Prince George Fire Centre and will remain in effect until noon on Tuesday, October 15th, or until it's rescinded. In addition to prohibition, the use of open fire of any size, the following activities are also prohibited: fireworks, sky lanterns, burn barrels, binary exploding targets, air curtain burners, and outdoor stoves. And due to the heat, BC Hydro has partially canceled the planned power outages for this week. The daytime outage today was fully canceled, as is the daytime outage tomorrow, meaning the larger overnight outage on July 11th is partially proceeding. It was originally going to impact around 3,400 customers, but that has been reduced to 2,700 customers. If BC Hydro reschedules the planned outages to a future date, they will notify all affected customers via email or by phone.
When the temperature becomes extreme, whether it's extreme heat or it's extreme cold, we take a look at every outage on a case-by-case basis, and we're able to go in and make some decisions on whether the work needs to actually go ahead as planned, or if we can cancel the planned outage and move it to a different time when the weather conditions are more favorable and it's a much safer time for not only employees but also for customers who are impacted by the planned outage as well.
With the region swinging into camping season following the long weekend, some in the tourism industry are predicting a slightly softer season on the camping and RVing front. Cheryl Jan looks into why.
It's the time of year we see RVs of all stripes showing up in town and around town. It's camping season, and RVs make up a significant amount of the tourism around these parts.
I think that's one of the rationales. I mean, if you want the number, we're probably talking like an 8 or 9 out of 10 especially on the amount we currently see. I think one of the big reasons for us to move locations is we realize that we're depending too much on that rubber tire traffic, and getting to our current location, we're definitely diversifying that a little bit. It's way easier if you are someone who flew in and then took a taxi downtown.
But the BC Lodging and Campgrounds Association is predicting a softer season than in past years compared to the summers during the pandemic. In fact, it is predicting to find 60% of normal bookings. And while the association says it will be a slightly softer season this year over others, Bobby Carpino with the Salmon Valley Campground says it's anything but for her, and she has a very interesting collection of tourists.
We are certainly seeing this is our busiest season since actually even before the pandemic. This is our 7th season now, and this is by far the busiest that we've had. So we're seeing a lot of our local folks, campers from Prince George, as well as some of the north here. We've got some folks who stay here because they've got medical appointments perhaps, but we're also seeing a big increase in our European travelers as well as our American travelers who are heading up to Alaska or Whitehorse.
One of the reasons the association is a little skeptical of the numbers is one of the constants in the summertime around these parts.
People aren't really worrying too much about it. We are hearing some folks, because the north still is a bit smoky, some of the travelers are now kind of looking at camping down in this area because we don't have that smoke.
One of the regular RV travelers to come through this region is the Americans on the pilgrimage to Alaska, and that is expected to continue regardless, according to Tourism Prince George.
Definitely those long-haul travelers coming from the States all the way up to Alaska, those people are forging ahead, so to speak. And, when the fires were happening in Fort Nelson earlier in the year, they were still coming to Prince George, and they were potentially going up Highway 37 instead of up Highway 97.
I think we're going to have an amazing summer. Yeah, even last year when we did have the smoke, we had a lot of people who still camped.
So here's to those who love the great outdoors, sitting around the campfire and enjoying what Mother Nature has to offer. Happy camping. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
RCMP are looking for anyone with information on an event that took place just before 1 a.m. on Saturday this past weekend. Police received reports of a woman on the Cameron Street Bridge who seemed to be in distress, calling out to passing vehicles. She was described as approximately 5'4" to 5'5" with blonde or light brown hair and a bun. When police arrived on scene, though, the witnesses had lost sight of her and where she had gone. Police are looking for anyone who may have seen her or possibly have given her a ride away from the bridge that night. The topic of parking in the downtown and at the hospital was discussed again at City Council on Monday. The city will be moving forward on modernizing parking, but it won't be happening right away. Adam Burles has the story.
City Council is moving forward on updating and modernizing parking in the downtown and hospital zone. Council has approved contracting the services of an experienced parking consultant to assess the existing strategy and provide guidance in developing options to deliver better parking experiences for patrons and business owners. As to alleviating pressures in the hospital zone specifically, staff recommends in the report that a couple of actions be taken, including adopting a pay-to-park system in a designated hotspot hospital zone.
We need to find a way to make more parking available, but in the same time without burdening the neighborhood.
During this discussion, Mayor Simon Hughes says that perhaps it could open a conversation towards more public transit usage.
The future of the city as well as the province, we're probably going to rely a little bit more on the public transit. So during this transition from people just go to come downtown with their cars to perhaps find a way to using more public transit, how this look like, what this look like, how do we using parking as a way to encourage people, perhaps using a little bit more public transit.
Mayor Yu also noted that the consultation will help guide the city for future planning when it comes to parking.
How are we going to grow orderly in an orderly manner and to provide the best living condition for our citizens. And this is what this kind of a traffic study, parking study, and OCP, these exercise, that's what municipal government, that's what we do.
While Council approved the recommendations on parking on Monday night, a revised strategy is still a long way off.
This will take time because to change a habit that has been with us for almost 50, 60 years, it will take time for people to adjust, yeah.
Staff will bring a report to Council in the second quarter of 2025 with recommendations on a new modernized parking strategy for Prince George. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Conservation North is hosting a special event next Monday to highlight an issue in forestry that's been front and center. The bobtail fire took thousands of hectares of forest land in 2015, and as part of reclamation, the wood was harvested. In 2020, new seedlings were planted at that location. But Conservation North has some serious reservations about salvaging logging and how it's impacting the ecosystem. People in the north are known to use more substances than the rest of the province, but a new survey shows that young people may be bucking that trend. Sam Bennison has more on this week's To Your Health.
And now To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
Further analysis into the BC Youth Adolescent Survey shows that young people in the northern interior still use substances at a higher rate than the rest of the province.
We've always seen the North have higher substance use rates. What is positive in the North is that these are coming down. So we've been doing the surveys for 30 years. We used to see virtually everybody had tried alcohol, virtually everybody had used cannabis. Now we're down to, about half of young people had tried alcohol, about a quarter had tried cannabis. So we're definitely moving in the right direction.
However, there has been a dramatic rise in vaping, which can lead youth to try more harmful substances.
It's about 37% of young people in the northern interior are vaping. That's huge. That's a really high number. And what we're starting to see is young people who vape at a young age and then going on to smoke tobacco.
But why are young people in the north more likely to use substances? Smith says a large component is the cultural values we hold.
They grow up often in households where parents are drinking, people's social life revolves around alcohol. So I think it's just traditionally been part of a lot of people's culture to use alcohol.
While experimenting with substances can be not harmful and a part of engaging with the wider social fabric, Smith notes that some are using it to self-medicate.
About 1 in 5 young people are using substances as a way to manage mental health, so to manage the stress in their life because they're down or sad. We do know that young people in the north are having trouble accessing a family doctor, but we definitely need to make sure that young people are getting the supports for the substance use that they need.
For youth without a family doctor, walk-in clinics like Foundry are vital for accessing healthcare, including substance use.
We take the philosophy that a young person is the most knowledgeable about themselves, the one person who knows themselves best. And so we work from the perspective of what they see as health and what goals they might have to try and improve their health and well-being, because health looks differently to different people.
To Your Health, brought to you by Hard Drugs, 3rd Avenue Pharmacy, and the Phoenix Pharmacy.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is sitting at $1.62.9 per liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province as of this morning was in Williams Lake at $1.58.9 per liter. Manitoba has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.42.3 per liter, while BC has an average price of $1.75.7 per liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. For a very limited time, PG Domino's is offering 50% off all pizzas when you order online.
The UNBC Timberwolves have announced their final Wall of Honor inductee, another local product who made a massive impact on the university, more specifically the men's basketball program, as Tyrell Lang is the last of the 2024 Wall of Honor recipients.
It's a story that warms the heart. A local kid dreaming of suiting up for his favorite sports team. Tyrell Lang not only accomplished that, he left his mark on the UNBC Timberwolves and now has his name on the university's decorated Wall of Honor.
It's really like a dream come true. It truly is. Just looking around, like seeing a mural of myself on the wall as you walk into the Northern Sports Center, now being able to see my name on the Wall of Honor, that's the stuff dreams are made of.
After an incredible high school career with PGSS, Lang first suited up for the green and gold in the 2016-2017 season. By the end of the campaign, he would be named UNBC's Male Rookie of the Year, one of the many accomplishments in his career. The rest of his time with the Timberwolves would look the same. No player scored more points than his 1,180. For UNBC's time in Canada West, he sits first in field goals, first in free throws, second in three-pointers, second in minutes played, and third in assists. Doing all this in just 45 career starts and having to earn his opportunity for playing time.
A lot of people don't know, I was not a scoring guy. I was a scoring guy in high school. I put up some numbers locally here, and when I got to university, it was a different story. I had to earn my way on the floor as a defensive guy first. And a couple things in the lineup were shaken up. And I remember I got a call up to the starting lineup against the University of Alberta. And I think I had like 25 points and had a career high in threes. And the rest was history for me. You know, I was able to gain confidence. My teammates were, starting to believe in me. The coaching staff was able to give me a longer leash. And I just ran with it.
With his loyalty to the city, community, and university unmatched ever since he first started playing the sport.
Tyrell had opportunities to go other places, but he really wanted to do something in his hometown. And so for him to come in and accept the role as he's going to be that guy and have the kids look up to him and set the records, like it's pretty special for what he did.
Lang becomes the final member of the 2024 class and the 9th men's basketball player to be inducted into the Wall of Honor. Anthony Correa, CKPG News.
8 athletes headed to Laval, Quebec last week to compete in the Karate Canada National Championships, and that group came back with a fantastic result. Everyone placed in the top 15. Have a look.
Well, last week was the Karate Canada National Championships for all the provinces in Canada, so it's a once-a-year event, and it's the team qualifier for Team Canada. So Team BC and all the other provinces were fighting last week in Laval, Montreal. 4-day event, and Prince George's and Chicago Credit Club. We had 8 athletes there and 1 coach, myself. So obviously a lot of barriers to being a northern athlete. So for us to have 8 even qualify for the provincial team we're ecstatic about. Let alone to see that many national medals come. Our club's had, the odd national medal here and there throughout history, but never 3 at once for sure. And I don't think there's ever been 3 at once in the north, almost without a doubt. So.
The TSX is down 84 points to close at 22,043. The Dow Jones is down 53 points to close at 39,292. And Seat Rail went down $1.70 to close at $157.57.
Good evening again, everyone. We are looking at a pretty nice forecast yet again into our night tonight, into tomorrow as well. It is going to be quite hot. We're under that heat warning, keeping in mind that you need to take the necessary steps to remain safe in these kinds of conditions. It was very hot out there today. The ridge really the strongest over the province today. So going into tomorrow, still a very warm one out there, but we'll start to see a bit of a reprieve and a bit of a change in those numbers as we get into Thursday, Friday, and heading into the weekend. So no major disturbances coming our way just yet. It'll still be quite sunny and really pleasant out there, but temperatures will come down just a little bit, so it will feel more comfortable. Futurecast doesn't show a whole lot. It's the ridge that's really strong still going into our day tomorrow, but this system out here is headed towards the north coast. There was a time we thought maybe Burns Lake would see a little bit of action from that, but now it looks to be like most of that is going to be north of us. So pretty dry forecast continuing going on. 41 Kamloops, the highs tomorrow, so still a very hot day for them down through the southern interior and really the Okanagan, much of the southeast corners of the province as well. 27 Vancouver, we're looking at temperatures around 22. Victoria, again, factoring in a bit of humidity there. So we'll still be quite warm, maybe not quite as hot as we were today, but 31, and again, a little bit of humidity could bring the temperature up slightly. 33 Fort St. John, local smoke there today, and again, looking at the potential for that tomorrow. So there's the disturbance up through Prince Rupert and inland to Terrace with a few showers. 30 in Mackenzie tomorrow, your high. Lots of sunshine across our region, though. Down through Quesnel, McBride, probably the hottest of our area. 34 for Quesnel and McBride, 28 Vanderhoof, 27 Fort St. James. Temperatures are really soaring in through Edmonton. 35 degrees expected for a high tomorrow. So a very, very hot day there, and in through much of the prairies really heating up as well. So again, hot weather along the western half of the country for the most part still into our day tomorrow. And then if you go further east, you can see a breakdown in conditions for sure. Some showers and more of that precipitation in many areas, and much of a cooler pattern as well. So getting down in temperatures. It's been quite warm there the last little while, especially with humidity in there, bringing the temperature or the feels like temperature up significantly in some cases. So there'll be a break out towards the east where it'll still be warm, but not as extreme. Sunny skies, though, going into our later part of the week still. And you'll see here that there's a drop in temperatures for Burns Lake tonight down to 5. And then really Thursday, Friday, you start to get into the low 20s. Still a very warm day tomorrow. Lots of sunshine in Mackenzie the next few days, and a very hot one for you again tomorrow, and then a drop, significant drop actually in through Thursday, a bit breezy as well in some areas of the region tomorrow, and that will include us as well, where we'll see some westerly winds gusting up to about 40 kilometers an hour here in Prince George. But brilliant sunshine for McBride. 34 is what you're looking at tomorrow. Lovely, lovely. Quesnel as well, 34 degrees. It is going to be a hot one, but you get a break come Thursday, and for us right here, yes, it'll be windy as we get into the day tomorrow. Well, not windy, but definitely breezy out there. We've got the westerly winds kicking up just a bit. 31, though, still very hot out there for our day tomorrow. Even overnight tonight, 13, so still staying very warm. And then a drop in temperatures back to a more comfortable range on Thursday.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. For a very limited time, PG Domino's is offering 50% off all pizzas when you order online.
As we mentioned yesterday, the Euros semifinal action took place as Spain took on France earlier today. Both teams exchanged goals in the first half. France scored just 9 minutes into this one before Spain responded with 2 goals in under 5 minutes to take a 2-1 lead into the half. And that's all the scoring in this one. Spain advances to their 5th Euro final and will look to secure their 4th championship. They will find out who they face tomorrow when England and the Netherlands battle for their spot in the finals. That match kicks off at 12 Pacific. Yesterday, we showed you incredible NHL goals throughout the years, and tonight we're doing something similar as we stick to 2024 and show you some buzzer beaters from the NBA season. Some great ones to watch in tonight's CKP3.
We begin with a fan favorite in Atlanta.
Murray, 3 seconds, 2, DJ for the win. Got it!
Yes!
DeJounte Murray hits the insane game winner versus the Orlando Magic. He will be missed on the Hawks next year. Next, Dame time in Milwaukee.
Here comes Dame. 3 seconds. Dame pulls for the win! Dame time is alive and well in Milwaukee!
Doesn't matter where he plays, Damian Lillard will always hit those big shots when you need them, including in overtime versus the Sacramento Kings. Finally, Kyrie goes lefty.
Kleba looking in for Irving. Irving for the win! Oh my! A southpaw finish from Kyrie Irving! Just absurd!
Scoring over Nikola Jokic is already tough enough, but to do it on the run from 20 feet out with your left hand is unheard of. as Kyrie's jaw-dropping heroics take top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Very cool stuff, very cool indeed. But that's all for tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. And we leave you with the last look. It's a funny one tonight. I think the Heat might be making this little guy a little squirrely. Have a great night, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.